everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk about Black History Month. The month that is a celebration of my people, because I am a black man and everything. And it's about all our accomplishments, all the oppression that we have gone through over like centuries of living in like America and stuff like that. And even till this day, we are still being oppressed. And so I'm here today to talk to you about certain characters or TV shows or episodes that revolve around Black History Month that I personally enjoy. So I'm here today to talk to you about Vixen. Is a DCCW Arrowverse web series that has 2 seasons, and HBO Max decided to combine both seasons and just turn it into like a movie. The movie is available on DVD and Blu-ray. However, the DVD is only in region 4, which Americans can't watch. So you have to get the Blu-ray, and that's about like $13 or so. And this came back out in 2015, so you think it'll be a little bit cheaper than $13. And so Vixen she was intended to be DC's very first African superhero, but her issue got canceled, and so she had to be put on hold and stuff. Now, Vixen does come from a fictional town in like Africa and stuff. Think of her as like DC's version of Black Panther. And so at some point in time, people started saying, hey, CW, your shows aren't really all that diverse and everything. And there are like no black lead shows because it's kind of funny because, you came from UPN. And with the whole merger of UPN and WB, once your 2 last black shows, got canceled, y'all went predominantly white and everything. And that is the truth. I have talked about it many times before. And so oh, by the way, I know it's not Black History Month. I know it's September, but February is going to come around the corner at some point. Plus, let's not forget the 400 years of slavery when, of unpaid labor of black people building America and everything. So, you know what? It's 24/7 Black History Month. And so, they had really no diversity at that time. They were slowly getting to more diversity, but very, very, very slow. And in fact, the CW didn't have a predominantly black-led show. And this is technically kind of its first, coming out in 2015, but they didn't put it on the CW. They put it on their children's app. I call it a children's app. It's kind of I guess a sister's app or whatever, or child app. It was called the CW Seed, which was originally intended to be for more younger viewers, and that's why they put a lot of the animated series. But then they started putting other shows, live action shows that got canceled after 1 season on there and stuff like that. The CW Seed has now dissolved just into the CW, and now the CW got bought by another company, and so no telling what's going to happen to it. So instead of giving her own live action Arrowverse type television superhero series like they did with The Flash, Supergirl, and Arrow, and I think Legends was around that time, Legends of Tomorrow, they decided, hey, let's just give her an animated series and let's just put her on the CW Seed, because she's black. And to tell you the truth, there wouldn't be a all-black live action series until 2018, because in 2009 was their last black-led show, and it took nearly a decade just for them to have another live action black series, which was All American in 2018. So yeah, since then they've been getting way more diverse and stuff, especially with the Black Lightning show and other they've been incorporating more people of color and LGBT in their series and stuff, because they were trying to be as WB as they can be, but the WB is dead, you know what I'm saying? And UPN, which had more black-led shows, they just said, screw that, our audience won't like that. In fact, when they came to this series, it's funny because, okay, So this is based off the Vixen, the one that appeared in the Arrow show. I forget when exactly she appeared in Arrow. I believe. I forgot what season it was, because this show is technically canon. They say it is canon, and it does take place within the Arrowverse universe. So she appeared in Arrow in 2016. So this came out before that. So they wanted to show how she knew Oliver and stuff like that. And so when they cast this, they got like a black woman. Now she's mixed with black and white. And because of that, they wanted to like have her skin tone kind of like match that of like, the real actress. Makes sense. But it's weird. Okay, I understand why they wanted to go like the mixed route for this vixen. I can't talk. Vixen and everything because of the actress. So that's why they made her skin tone look that way. However, every other black person in this series has that exact same skin tone. And it's a weird shade of brown. It's very, very, very light, almost like whitewashing. And it's just like if you was like a white person, you put some brown like makeup on your face, it would look like that. But like it's like a muted type brown. And so that was always kind of odd how every black person in this cartoon series had that same exact shade. Now they changed it for season 2. They kept her shade the exact same way, but they made every other black person more of a light brown, kind of darkish kind of color to show like the difference and everything. I wish they would have took the time and effort to show the difference, with the other one. Now, the animation is the exact same kind that's in Justice League Flashpoint when they started the whole New 52 and the DC animated universe movies. And for the New 52 line, they had that same anime-ish type look. Anime-ish because, it was drawn by people in Japan and stuff. And so they had those anime exaggerated looking faces. And that really threw me off because like where the bodies and everything else in the show looks great, everybody's face is bizarre. They had some weird facial expressions for Green Arrow that are just like haunting and everything. And like they had, and then when it comes to the Justice League Flashpoint, I never liked their faces. They were very elongated, very long noses. It had a very anime looking style to it, very similar to that of Aladdin. Now the reason why he had a long nose was to show that he's from like an Indian type country and stuff. And so it was just kind of weird seeing that in all their DC properties, and especially this. And and so, but when it came to Mari specifically, the animated version never looked like a black woman. Like it never did. It just looks like a white woman's anime face with like very light, almost muted brown like makeup on. And then her hair has always been like that in the comics and stuff, like very short and everything. But in the comics, it had more of like, a like black looking vibe. In animation, they can't never really get her hair done that right, even in like the old Justice League Unlimited cartoon series and Batman Brave and the Bold. But her hair here looks very choppy and very, I don't know, she just looks white. It looks like she's been whitewashed and everything, especially with like her facial expressions. And like, because normally when they draw a black person in animation, they look black, except for here and everything. And that's because for those animated movies, they didn't really have too many black superheroes. So the Japanese artists, they didn't really have no like inspiration to draw from. So they just went with their own like style and everything. Now the animation other than that is great. Like I love the way the Flash looks, except for his head. It's oddly shaped. And I don't like, what's his name? Something Ramon. Cisco. Cisco's drawn very odd in this. And both in the Ray. Like he has no expression. He always looks dull and bored. Which is weird because the person playing him has lots of like, he smiles a lot and he's very upbeat. But this version just very mellow and everything. And so like it's voiced by everybody who voices their live action counterparts. Now, James Tucker was the person who produced this and stuff. And like I said before, it lasted for 2 seasons, 12 episodes between the year of 2015 and 2016. Now, Mari, Vixen's appearance is very different from her live action counterpart because I guess they didn't know exactly what they were going to go with in the live action version. So she has a different costume in the first season, and then by the beginning of the second season, she just redesigns it for some bizarre reason to look more like what they wanted for the live action one. But her hair was still short. Her hair wouldn't get long in animation until that of the Freedom Fighters, the Ray. And so, like, she had then like her long hair and everything, you know. And so this is a really cool animated movie and stuff. I like it a whole lot better than a lot of the live action CW stuff. And because like the live action CW stuff, they're mostly just dramas. It's like, oh, 35 minutes of them talking and saying something dramatic with long-winded speeches, and then the last couple of minutes is just like action and stuff. And it always bugs me because the CW Arrowverse shows, they get so heavy in dialogue that it's boring and it weighs you down and it gets on my nerve with them long-winded speeches. And here they just get straight to the point and straight to the action. Except for one episode that was kind of like a slow burn. That's only in that one episode. And so, like, when it comes to the live action actress, I don't remember much about her from that one episode of Arrow I saw. And it's weird because sometimes this does not feel like canon, but they say it's canon, but it doesn't really feel that way. And so, like, the live action actress, she appeared in one episode of Arrow, but they wanted her for Legends of Tomorrow because they only had one other black person on that show. And at some point in time, I think he left. And so they didn't have a black person anymore. So they needed a black person. In fact, actually, they had two black people at one point. One was there for the main cast, and the other one came in later on, but then he left, so they had no more black people on the show. So they needed a black person, so they decided to go with Vixen. Only problem is the actress couldn't reprise her role because she had other TV shows and movies to do, so they recast the character, not the actress, but they recast the character and brought in a new actress. Personally, I don't know why they just didn't recast the role instead of bringing on a new character, because the new character is now supposed to be like her grandmother or great grandmother that they made up and stuff. So it's not the Vixen everybody knows from like the comics. And I don't know why she just didn't play the same character, because honestly, both actresses look very similar and everything. And you know, so that was just kind of like odd, but they went with how they wanted to. So it was like whatever, you know. But anyway, each episode was around 4 or 7 minutes, so it made sense for them to turn it into like an actual like movie instead of like a web series. Sadly, the web series have stopped. They stopped. They only had like 4. They had Vixen, Freedom Fighters, the Ray. Let's see what else they had. A Deathstroke one was the last one, and then they had a Constantine one. But the only ones I like is the Ray and Vixen. I didn't like the other two. And then at some point they just decided to stop altogether. And actually they predate the MCU because CWC was kind of like Disney Plus when they wanted to expand their universe. And so, yeah. And so this is very action-packed. It even starts off with an action sequence where Vixen is being chased by Green Arrow and the Flash for some reason. And so it cuts from that to her in jail. She got really pissed and she stabbed the guy with like a pen and everything because she was trying to find out like, you know, information on her birth parents. And so like her foster father had to like bail her out. Now, they do have her foster father in live action as well. And in the animated one, you can tell he's like Hispanic. And in the live action, he's played by a Hispanic actor. However, they got a white actor to voice him. And for her foster mother. I hate when they do that crap, man. Is it that hard to find Hispanic people? It's not. Because they brought in a Hispanic woman for like another episode. Anyway, so like... when she was in jail and everything, they gave her back her belongings and they gave her back her necklace. Now her necklace is very special. It's a totem. Basically in Africa, because she don't really remember too much about Africa and stuff, because she was raised mostly in America. So like the ancient like African like spirit god type person, the giant spider named Anansi, he wanted a totem to be made with all the animals of the wild kingdom and stuff that a human can possess. At some point in time, it kept getting passed down to where it got to Mari. And so like her parents gave it to her, but she has no idea why it's so important and this and that. She just thinks it's a regular necklace. And then at some point, like I told you before, she goes and like sees, well actually she gets like chased by like, you know, Arrow or Green Arrow and the Flash. And at that point in time, her adrenaline started like activating the necklace, or at least when she touched it with her hand, and all these like spirit animals started like coming out, right? And she had no idea what's going on, but she knew how to use them pretty well, but not like super well, you know? And so they're like chasing her, he's shooting arrows at her and everything, and I forget the reason why like they started chasing after her and stuff. But like in a way, she's like, they're no match for her. Like she's able to outrun them, she can fly, she can do like all kind of stuff, and even go invisible with camouflage, because she's able to just touch her pendant and pretty much any animal in Africa she can think of, she'll have their ability and their strength. It would have been cooler if she would have had her own live action show, and they could have been able to do that easily because they could have used practical effects for like her powers, and then just for like the spirit stuff they can just have like CGI cartoonish looking stuff like they did in like the live action. Now when it comes to the live action Legends of Tomorrow, I'm not sure what her character was like, or her grandmother's great grandmother's character was like. I didn't watch Legends and stuff, so I'm not sure how they used her powers and if it was cool or what. So at some point in time, she goes and she sees like her friend. He's like a professor at a university, and his name is McAllister. And so like she told him about like her powers and everything like that, and so he's gonna help her out. But then he ends up calling some type of mob boss and everything, and so he ratted her out. This mob boss, I can't say her name, Kuz Asa or something like that, she pretty much like kidnaps Mari and shoots her too. And so she takes her all the way to Africa of all things, and she reveals to her that I'm your older sister. Basically what happened is there's this like mobster type dude, and he wrecked their town village, and the parents decided to get Mari out but not her sister, abandoning her. So that led to resentment and everything, and she wants the totem thing because she's the older sister and she feels that it belongs to her. But the parents didn't want her to have it because I guess she's like shady or like whatever, you know? And so like she ends up like defeating her sister and everything like that. And so because she pretty much told them, if you ever come back to my dad's home Green Arrow, I'll disavow you and everything. But they tell her, you know, you're pretty impressive at what you do and blah, 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 and being a meta-human, and that's, you know, and they have like a superhero type team and blah, 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 blah. If you ever need help, just let us know and all that crap. So at some point, yeah, she does don like her first costume and everything. And I like this design. It's actually, tell you the truth, I like this vixen a whole lot more than the one that was in the Justice League Unlimited series. Now, the one Justice League Unlimited series, she had a costume more faithful to that of like, you know, her comic book counterpart. But in this version, she has more of an updated Arrowverse type outfit. Now, when we get into season 2, one of the first episodes is so way down. Basically, she's trying to figure out why that dude like ratted her out, and he told her your sister offered him tons of money for this research, so now all is forgiven. And so the second season deals with the rest of like the totems and stuff, the elemental ones that can control earth, wind, water, fire, and spirit and stuff. And so the mob boss dude, he wants them. His name is Isu or something like that. It's hard to say. And so like she's having trouble with her powers. She's having trouble controlling the animals. So her dad tells her go to like the zoo and I don't know, become one with the animals, something like that. So, well, first he wanted her to talk to her friend, but he betrayed her. But now they're like buddies again, and so she talks to like a woman. I forget the woman's name, but like she's voiced, I believe, by the woman who played Hawk Girl in like Justice League animated series. And so she tells her the reason why, because you're trying to fight your animal spirits, just let them take full control and everything. But basically, there's a subplot going on in here where it's kind of way down with that CW long-winded speeches. Basically, there's a poacher, and a lot of the animals that she have in her zoo aren't exactly legal, and she has to give them the illegal way. So the poacher is stirring up trouble. So she fights the poacher off and everything, and saves the lady, and she's talking to the gorilla that's been poached. And wait, is poach killing, or is it taken from another country? I'm getting my words confused. Anyway, they kidnap animals from other countries. So if poaching is like hunting, then no. But anyway, they're kidnapping animals from Africa and bringing them away. Anyway, but she's talking to a freaking gorilla of all things. Now, she does not have the ability to talk to animals, but she's just talking to them for some reason. And she tells him, I made a new costume because I'm a fashion designer, blah, blah. And it's like, okay. Now, this outfit is more in line to what she wears in the Arrowverse, like live action. And so that was kind of like a boring kind of episode. But then it kicks back up again when it gets back to McAllister and that mob boss dude. And so, like, she has one of them, and he gets his hands on it. He gets his hands on the one of fire. And of course, like typical animation, he goes berserk and crazy and wants to destroy everything. Now, he's the person who destroyed her village, remember? And so he's just like happy with power, and he's like, gonna be like a huge super villain and everything. So she needs help taking him down. Who did she go to? Her sister, because she wants to find out more about these little totems and stuff like that. Her sister knows about them. Now, her sister's in prison. Her sister betrays her and takes the water powers, but decides it's going to help her out. So, of course, they fight like the mob boss do. And sadly, her life is taken. The sister. She sacrifices her life trying to defeat the fire dude. It's a pretty brutal kill scene. Like, this animated thing, they're more edgy than the Arrowverse. They show death a whole lot more. They cuss, they flip people off and stuff like that. But at some point in time, she does end up hanging with the other heroes of the Arrowverse. So we get to see the Atom and Firestorm and stuff like that, and we get to see Black Canary. And there's a funny scene where Felicity calls Green Arrow calls Felicity because he needed help with something. And it was just like a cute little thing that she did. Like, it was so much more funner than the live action counterparts. Like, they really knew how to write this and stuff. So anyway, it's a huge battle between her and the fire dude. Of course, she ends up like defeating him and everything. And so she decides she's going to keep these powers and continue to be a hero. But they make it seem like she constantly hangs out with the other heroes of the Arrowverse, but she doesn't. So I don't know why they keep assuming that. And also they keep making all the other Arrowverse heroes act like they all hang out with each other and help each other out, which they don't. But this is a really good animated movie. It has lots of action. It has a little depth, a little drama, you know what I'm saying? A little character development and stuff. Some sacrifices, redemption. It's too bad like the Arrowverse keeps getting weighed down by like all their like elongated speeches and foo-foo talk and all this other crap. This was actually pretty good, and I wish they would have made more after this, but for some reason they just didn't. I guess it didn't click with people. That, and a lot of people just didn't know what the CWC was at the time. And so like, yeah, you can check this out on HBO Max. Like, it's really good and stuff, and it's still out on DVD. Happy Black History Month, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.